Welcome to this commentary. This is Darlanio, and today we are going to watch a game between DieStar and Hasu on Shakuras Plateau. This is the second game from the Dailymotion Cup, and if you haven't seen the first game between these two, I suggest strongly that you watch the first game first. There are links on each game showing where the other games are. So here on Shakuras Plateau we have DieStar spawning in the lower left corner as the purple Terran, and if we go to the upper right corner we have Hasu spawning as the yellow Protoss. Hasu or HasuObs as his accounts are called have played many games that I've seen. DieStar is almost a new acquaintance for me. I've only seen the first game in this Dailymotion Cup from him, but proven he's a good player as well. And we'll see what will happen in this game. We have the standard 9 supply pylon, we have a gateway coming, and an assimilator from the Protoss player. So 9 pylon, 12 gateway, 13 assimilator. And what is this probe doing? Usually the scouting probe goes directly to the closest base, but in this case Hasu is going diagonally over the board to the right base. He found his opponent immediately. That's a bit strange. The Terran base, if we look at that, we have the 10 supply depot, which is standard. We have the barracks at 12 supply, I think it's built, 11 or 12. And while it's building, you build the first refinery, and at 15 or 16 supply, directly when the barracks is finished, you morph your command center into an orbital command. This is a standard opener, and I recommend it for the Terran players. This opening for the Protoss players is also standard. You need your cybernetics core, and right away when it finishes you should have 50 gas and start researching warp technology, which is maybe the most potent of the Protoss technologies that are available. We see, for example, this pylon here, which will allow Hasu to morph in troops down here. So warp gate technology is really important. We also see him warp in a robotics facility, and this is a bit early. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen it warped in this early before. Possibly to create an observer first to scout the opponent's base, and then Immortals or Colossus will probably come out. This little probe, what is it doing? Okay, we have Hellion out, which probably will be used for scouting, and we have this Stalker following it into his natural, where that probe is starting to warp in an expansion, a nexus. We also saw that this ramp was blocked, so the Hellion could not get into the base and was destroyed by the 2 Stalkers. So that harassment or scouting failed partially. He was able to see this expansion, and that's no biggie for the Terran that the Protoss is expanding a bit earlier. That's the common thing. The Terran is able to mine faster with his emules, so he doesn't need to expand that fast. Looking at the expansion, which is more than halfway finished now. We have a Banshee leaving the base. And no. And we also see this observer, by the way, coming in, looking over the base. I was planning to follow this Banshee for a while. Banshees are good for harassment, especially if you research the cloak ability. Since you know your opponent in this case has okay, he didn't shoot that already damaged probe. Here comes the stalkers, and they will be able to chase away this Banshee, since this Banshee is not equipped with cloaking yet. But that killed off one probe at least, and also took time from Hasu and his planning and building, since he had to move his stalkers. About the stalkers, they are here and checking for any aggression that might have passed by this Salnaga tower. A large group of Terran units moving out of the base. Since we see a Raven, I understand that he has a starport with a tech lab. And if I recall correctly, this space was taken by a factory earlier, this factory I guess. So he built a tech lab on the factory and then a starport nearby, and moved the starport into position over the tech lab. Okay, 3 siege tanks, 1 Banshee, 1 Raven, and some Marines. Of course, a few SCVs as well. And these are attacked right away by 2 Colossi. He has been able to get 2 of them out. Though they have the thermal lance, yes, range 9. Which should make him able to attack this group. Range 13 is of course stronger for the siege tanks, but he should be able to take the siege tanks out with units like Colossi and Stalkers. Pylon coming in here. This Nexus, now not just the shield, but now the core of the Nexus is damaged, and we can also see that he's moving in the siege tanks closer, and the closer they get, the more trouble the Protoss player will get, of course. 3 Colossi killing off here, and he should concentrate his fire on the siege tanks, of course. 2 of them has fallen. 1 Colossi is still not damaged at all. And the expansion is destroyed, but we also see that he's distant mining, and he has taken out a lot of these troops. Siege tank moving forward and is allowed to siege up again. This is not good for the Protoss player, of course. We can see that the Colossi is now damaged a bit, and we see an Immortal. Immortals are good counter versus siege tanks. Now there are 2 siege tanks below that ramp. And we have Vikings in the air. Of course, those are counter versus the Colossi as well. Not so good versus Immortals. So let's see. Okay, he is mixing 2 Colossi, 1 Immortal, and 1 Immortal on its way. We have an observer watching over the deep at the edge of the map. Okay, this assimilator is being pounded by the siege tanks, and we have bunkers coming up on the high ground, or the middle high ground, here at the natural. Large attack, the Vikings are attacking the Colossi. The Colossi are killing off a lot of Marines. Marines are really good versus Immortals due to the numbers of attacks. No more Colossi remaining. Terran moving in, and it looks like he would be able to kill off this if he gets his Vikings down to the ground and help out, but he doesn't. He waits for the siege tank to siege up on the low ground. Very smart move. Even the probes are in this defense, and now he is landing his Vikings, but waiting for another siege tank, I guess. The Immortals coming here, attacking the bunker, and he is saving his Marines after the bunker is destroyed. And here comes another attack. No, siege tank is not within range, and we can see that the Terran at the same time is able to erect his command center at the natural. This early pressure will probably pay off. The natural expansion, when it's saturated, will give lots of minerals and gas compared to the only starting base for the Protoss player. Building an army from only one base compared to two bases when it's Protoss having one and Terran having two, that's a given loss. Marines moving in, taking a few shots from the Stalkers, and then there is a large confrontation again. The Vikings are in the air and taking out the Colossi, then landing and helping out in this battle, which actually the Terran player is losing. The new units warped in helped out fine, and even though he had two siege tanks and the bunker down here, two Immortals were able to get out. They were not able to survive though. Okay, this expansion is done. DieStar, you are letting one SCV take a break there. Okay, now he's starting that expansion up, and he's giving up his pressure. It has done what was necessary, namely taking out this nexus. So DieStar is taking control of the Salnaga Tower there and the Salnaga Tower there. No air units coming from the Protoss player. He is using 5 gates now. And as we can see, he's low on minerals. His main base is almost out of minerals, 40 left there. And he is distance mining this base some. Now I don't know what he's doing. Okay, desperation move. He is going to attack with everything, including his probes. And that was why he stopped distance mining, to gather the minerals needed for another nexus. Would probably be fatal, because Terran player would be able to rebuild and regroup, and as you can see, this small group of Protoss units are not able even to get into the natural of DieStar, and Hasu left the game. Thanks for watching this second game of the match. There are several more games and I want to see them, so stay tuned, check out game 3, it will be up in YouTube in a moment. Thanks for watching, bye!